So, you're pregnant, you've just been told you have anemia, and boom, your mind just starts racing, right? You're worried, maybe a little confused, and you've probably got this one big question just looping in your head. Is my baby okay? It's a totally normal fear, but today we are going to clear things up. We're going to talk about what anemia really is, and this is the most important part, how you can actually know if it's affecting your baby.
Yep, that's the question. That's the one that pops into your head at 3 a.m. after you get a not-so-great blood test result. So let's just dive right in and tackle it head-on. We're going to go over the key signs you can actually look for. The goal here is to help you move from worrying to knowing so you can take the right steps. All right, so first things first. Before we can even get to the baby, we have to understand what in the world anemia even is. And don't worry, we're not going to get bogged down in a bunch of complicated medical jargon. We're just going to create a really simple picture of what's happening inside your body. So if you look it up in a textbook, this is basically what you'll find. Anemia is when your blood just doesn't have enough healthy red blood cells. Or, and this is key, not enough hemoglobin. Now, what's hemoglobin? Think of it like the most important delivery service in your body. It's this protein that grabs onto oxygen and all those vital nutrients and carries them everywhere they need to go, especially to your little one. Okay, let's make this even simpler with a little analogy. Imagine your red blood cells are a team of super dedicated workers, and their job is to load up these little carts, that's the hemoglobin, with all the good stuff. Oxygen, nutrients, you name it. Anemia then can happen for one of two reasons. Either you just don't have enough workers on the clock, or the workers you do have are showing up with carts that are only half full. See? Either way, the result is the same. The delivery schedule gets all messed up and things start falling behind. So, does this ever happen to you? You're just sitting on the couch and suddenly your heart starts racing, or you feel kind of out of breath? It's a super common symptom of anemia. And guess what? It connects directly back to our little story about the workers and their carts. Let's see how. This makes so much sense when you think about it. Imagine your body needs 10 cartloads of oxygen delivered, like right now, but you only have 5 workers available. What are those 5 workers going to do? They're going to have to run. They're sprinting back and forth, working double time, just trying to keep up with the demand. Well, that's sprinting. That's your heart. It's working overtime, pumping like crazy to try and get that limited supply of oxygen and nutrients where it needs to go faster. Okay, this is really important to get. Not all anemia is the same. It's not just a yes or no thing. Your doctor is going to look at your hemoglobin level, that number from your blood test, to see how severe it is. For pregnancy, a level under 11 is usually where they start calling it anemia. So if you're between 10 and 10.9, that's considered mild. If it's between 8 and 10, that's moderate. And once you drop below 8, we're talking about severe anemia. Knowing which category you fall into is a huge deal because it tells your doctor about the potential risks and how urgently you need to treat it. All right, so we've got the what and the how down. Now let's get to the so what. This is the part you've been waiting for. Let's really dig into why it is so important to get a handle on this during pregnancy. When it comes right down to it, here's the main concern. If that delivery system of oxygen and nutrients isn't running at 100%, there's a potential for it to affect the baby's growth. They might not get everything they need to grow as quickly as they should. But I want you to really focus on 2 words here, potential and untreated. This isn't a guarantee, it's a risk we need to manage. So the big question is, how do you know? How can you check if that potential risk is actually happening? How do you get that peace of mind that your baby is doing just fine? Well, the good news is you don't have to just sit and wonder. There are 2 really clear, concrete ways that you and your doctor can keep an eye on things. Think of these as your 2 main checkpoints for reassurance. First up, you have the hard data you get from an ultrasound. And second, you have something you can feel yourself every single day, your baby's movements. Both are incredibly valuable. Let's break them down. All right, checkpoint number 1, the ultrasound. This is probably the most powerful tool we have for reassurance. When you go in for a scan, the doctor isn't just looking for a cute profile pic. They're taking really precise measurements, the baby's weight, their length, and the big question they're asking is, do these numbers match the baby's age? So for example, if you're 6 months pregnant, is the baby measuring like a 6-month-old fetus? If the answer is yes, that is fantastic news. It's a really strong sign that so far, they've been getting everything they need to grow right on schedule. And then there's checkpoint number 2. And this is when you can do yourself, anytime. It's all about your baby's movements, those kicks and wiggles. You know, babies in the womb are incredibly smart. They have this built-in survival instinct. If their supply of oxygen and nutrients starts to run a little low,
What do? They conserve energy. And how do they do that? They move less. So if you notice a big, lasting drop in how much your baby is moving, that can be a little warning sign. It's kind of their way of saying, hey, my battery's running a little low in here.
Okay, so let's imagine you just came from your ultrasound. The doctor says everything looks perfect, the baby is measuring right on track. You feel this huge wave of relief, right? And that's wonderful. But, and you really need to hear this, that is not your cue to stop treating your anemia. It's not a one-and-done situation. This is a continuous mission, and here's why. You've got to remember this quote. What was enough yesterday may not be enough tomorrow. A pregnancy isn't static. It's the opposite. Your baby is growing at an incredible rate. And that means their demand for all those nutrients and oxygen is going up every single day. The supply that was totally fine for them in month 5 might not be enough to cut it in month 7.
Just look at how this plays out over the trimesters. In the first trimester, a baby's needs are pretty small. But then you hit the second trimester and things really start to ramp up. And by the third trimester, their needs are at an all-time high. This is exactly why a mild or moderate anemia that wasn't causing any problems early on can suddenly become a much bigger deal later. Your supply has to keep pace with their demand. The real finish line isn't one good ultrasound, it's delivery day.
Now, the best news of all is that this is absolutely treatable. There are very clear ways to get your levels back where they need to be. For a lot of women, it's about improving nutrition and taking iron supplements. But if that's not cutting it, or maybe your body just isn't absorbing the iron well, your doctor might suggest something like an IV infusion to get that iron directly into your system. And only in really severe, urgent situations, a blood transfusion could be on the table. The point is, there are options, and your doctor will help you figure out the exact right one for you. So let's wrap this all up with the most important takeaway. I know getting that anemia diagnosis can feel really scary, but the power to make sure everything turns out okay is absolutely in your hands. Now that you understand what's going on with your workers and their carts, you can work with your doctor to make sure your team is fully staffed and ready to go. When you take your treatment seriously, you're doing so much more than just treating anemia. You are actively building a healthy foundation for your baby, and that is a pretty amazing job to have.